Hello and welcome to the latest episode of Line Unbroken, my progression-style playthrough series of the Lord of the Rings living card game. I'm playing the third quest from the Grey Havens deluxe expansion, the Raid on the Grey Havens. There's no flavor text here. Before I get to the quest setup, I took a mulligan with this deck. The first hand, it was quite nice. It had Elven Light and Steward of Gondor, both of which are good cards. But for this quest specifically, I really want to start with good starting willpower, and there were no allies in that first opening hand. So I mulliganed, I got this one. King Under the Mountain is certainly good to start with, improving my draw. I do have some willpower allies. I also have Elrond's Council. Over here, since I have Galdor, I will not be taking a normal mulligan, I will instead be discarding cards and drawing an equal number. So, Secret Vigil is a decent thing to start with. Elven Spear is potentially useful, but not that big a deal. I don't think I want a good Harvest right at the start of the game. I'm not sure about Beachbone. I do only have one copy of Beachbone, so maybe I hold on to him. Just discard 2, draw 2. In fact, yes, since he's the first Ent I've seen, I think I hold on to him just in case. Yeah, let's just discard 2, draw 2, okay. This is reasonable. So, the setup here. Set Captain Sahir and Nasir aside, out of play. There they are. The flame keyword, there are effects which add damage to flame locations. If a flame location has damage equal to its flame value, so for the Dream Chaser this is 12, then it is placed under the Haven's Burn, because it has been destroyed by the fire. And at the end of the round, 1 damage is placed on each flame location in the staging area, but not the active location. So add the Haven's Burn, the Dream Chaser, and 1 copy of Sahir's Ravage to the staging area. I'm just, as I tend to, going to put the objective just to the side here. Forced, when a card is placed underneath the Haven's Burn, reveal the top card of the encounter deck. So it's not a reliable strategy to let locations burn just to reduce the threat in the staging area, because they will be replaced by another card. If there are X or more cards underneath the Haven's Burn, the Corsairs have destroyed the Elven fleet and the players lose the game. X is 3 more than the number of players in the game, so for me it's 5. The Dream Chaser is a flame 12. We cannot travel here, it's immune to player card effects, and if it's placed under the Haven's Burn, we lose the game. So here's Ravager. After he attacks, place 1 resource, then deal X damage to the flame location in play with the lowest flame value, where X is the number of resources on Sahir's Ravager. And now shuffle the encounter deck and discard cards from the top of the encounter deck until X cards with the flame keyword are discarded, where X is the number of players in the game. Add each discarded flame location to the staging area, then shuffle the encounter discard pile back into the encounter deck. So, let's see. It's 1 and 2. And these other cards are shuffled back into the encounter deck. So we have Pillaged Ship, a flame 5. It is not revealed, so we don't have to resolve that when revealed effect. And Burning Piers, a flame 5, +1 threat for each damage on it. This is a pretty good start. Only 3 threat from the locations added. I've often had the experience in this quest that the first quest phase you tend to quest unsuccessfully. But I think I stand a reasonable chance of not doing that this time around. This, of course, is why this deck definitely mulliganed for extra starting willpower. But yeah, having only added 3 threat, because of course there are 3 and 4 threat locations, so you could potentially add like 7 threat to the 5 that's already there, and that's tough to get past while also being ready for combat. But okay, Corsairs are attacking the Grey Havens and burning the Elven fleet. You must defend the havens from these fierce raiders and save as many ships as you can. Forced, at the end of the combat phase, deal X damage to the Aflame location in play with the lowest Aflame value. X is the number of Corsair enemies in play. Control N. We begin the game. Dundigal Warrior, very nice. This deck draws an extra card for Círdan, and of course I will discard Elven Light. Over here, play Darren's Runes. Draw 2. Okay. Now that I have other Ents, I could get rid of Beachbone. Or maybe the Honor Guard. He's not a top priority, so go with that. Darren's Runes again. Okay, now I get rid of Beachbone. So, okay. It would be nice to play that Secret Vigil on his Ravager, reduce the threat in the staging area, get a nice threat drop when I kill him, but I think it's much more important to get my Ents going as fast as possible, so Dundigal Warrior. Enters play exhausted, and that's it. Yeah, I'll play the Ent move now. Okay, only one Ent. That's a bit surprising. I have quite a few Ents in this deck, but it's just an unfortunate shuffle, I guess. Okay, so obviously I cannot afford King Under the Mountain this round. But what I can do right now is play Elven Light. Draw another card. Okay, discard Elven Light, adding a resource to Círdan. And so now I could actually get King Under the Mountain right away, because I could play We Are Not Idle, exhausting Barlin to add a resource to Barlin, and draw a card, and then I could play King Under the Mountain, getting my draw online immediately at the cost of having 2 less willpower. There is 8 threat in the staging area. So I could quest for 2, 4, 7, 11 plus an ally, 13, which is pretty reasonable. And that would be without using Barlin. On the other hand, if I still have the 2 willpower from Barlin, I might be able to hold back my heroes on this side and actually be able to immediately kill Sahir's Ravager. That's another option. I don't know how concerned I am. Being able to kill Sahir's Ravager right away is a pretty big deal. So actually I think I will just save. Just on the off chance that I might get the benefit from exhausting Barlin in a subsequent round, I will not actually play We Are Not Idle yet. I don't think I'll draw anything else that I want to play. Unless I find myself short 1 willpower and want to see if I draw another Elrond's Council. So I will play a Sailor of Loon. He will be 2 willpower because the top card of my discard pile is Elven Light. It is an event. So there is, as mentioned, 8 threat in the staging area. I am not questing with this deck. 3, 7, 9, 11. I may quest unsuccessfully. This is not the best willpower, but I should be able to kill Sahir's Ravager, which is worth a lot. Reveal Raid Leader and Corsair Arsonist. Okay, when revealed, either deal 2 damage to an Aflame location in play, or search the encounter deck and discard pile for the Aflame location with the highest Aflame value and add it to the staging area. I'm going to deal 2 damage to the pillaged ship, because it has an Aflame value of 5, so I have some leeway, and it doesn't have any extra nasty effect when it is placed underneath the Haven's Burn. Also, I think I'm going to travel to it. after resolving the quest, which I added 5 threat. So I do fail the quest by 2. I will play Arn's Council to get 1 more willpower, and I suppose I could actually, at this point, use We Are Not Idle to draw that extra card. Why not? It's not an Elrond's Council, it's Steward of Gondor. So, yeah, that's pretty great. Okay. And then I fail the quest by 1. That's fine. And then I travel to the pillaged ship. Now, I really can't deal with the raid leader, but I will, I think, optionally engage Sahir's Ravager. Yes, he takes resources when you engage him. And the Corsair Arsonist will engage naturally. Mablon gains a resource for me engaging an enemy. So if we deal shadow cards, I will play this Feint against Sahir's Ravager. Bjorn defends against the Arsonist. If attacking enemy is a raider, the Corsair Arsonist is a Corsair, but he is not a raider. So this shadow effect does nothing. He deals 1 damage to Bjorn. And now I attack for 2, 7, 9. Oh, after Sahir's Ravager attacks, place 1 resource. Actually, no. You know what? I'm going to go to the Burning Piers rather than the pillaged ship. Yes, so after Sahir's Ravager attacks, place 1 resource, then deal X damage to the Aflame location in play with the lowest Aflame value. They both have Aflame 5. I'll put the 1 damage there. So now I kill Sahir's Ravager. So now, at the end of the combat phase, I deal X damage to the Aflame location in play with the lowest Aflame value. Again, they're both 5. X is the number of Corsair enemies in play, so 2. If I want to keep all the locations safe, I think I do. Because I will, of course, at the end of the round, be placing 1 damage on each Aflame location in the staging area as well. So I could place 2 damage here, and then at the end of the round, the pillaged ship would just be burnt. But then I would have to reveal another card, and given that the pillaged ship is only 2 threat, I think the odds are very much in favour of the replacement card being worse. So I'm going to put the 2 damage at the end of the combat phase on the Burning Piers. The fact they're gaining threat doesn't matter because it's the active location. And then at the end of the round, after I discard the shadow card, damage goes in the staging area. Control N, new round, another Entmoot, and over here, well, that's annoying. I'm pretty sure I only put in 1 copy of each of these guys. I didn't expect to draw them both at the same time, so I guess they are now useless. Let's discard Keeley first, and I'll discard Feely later, probably. Assuming I don't just keep cycling Elven Light over and over. So, I'm going to play Steward of Gondor onto Círdan, and exhaust it to gain 2 resources. Now, if I now play Naya, then Círdan would have a leadership resource icon and could play King Under the Mountain. On the other hand, I could just use my 4 spirit resources that I now have to play both of these allies and have more willpower. I could also cycle Elven Light. And as much as I want more card draw, I'm kind of tempted by that. So I think, yeah. So I will pay 1 for Elven Light. You're not idle. Discard Elven Light to add a resource to Círdan. What's the threat in the staging area now? I'm quite possibly going to play the Secret Vigil. So, well, it's currently 7. It could be 6 with the Secret Vigil. I want to make 3 progress. That's pretty reasonable. But yeah, let's just get these guys into play. Oh well. Okay, I'll play We're Not Idle first. Gandalf, okay. It was just if I'd drawn a Test of Will, then I would have only played 1 ally and saved a resource. Or I would have considered... Oh no, I already played We're Not Idle. So, yes. So I dropped my threat by 1 for Galadriel's Handmaiden. I just want to keep this deck at low threat, so it's less likely to be forced into engagements. Because I want all of the enemies over here, because this deck has all of the combat power. Over here, let's play Entmoot. And again, only 1 Ent. I'm getting bad luck with these Entmoots, but they're still replacing themselves and they're free, so it's basically fine. Now, Warden of Healing would be good to get into play. Another Dundingle Warrior would be good, but it would also be quite nice to have that Secret Vigil. No, I think the safer option is still going to be Dundingle Warrior, and I think here I play the Wandering Ent. So both of these are exhausted when they enter play. But of course, the earlier you play your Ents, the sooner you have the actual power of the Ents at your disposal. So there is 7 threat in the staging area. Request of 3, 7, 9, 11, 13, 15. I need 3 progress. It only needs Bjorn to kill the Arsonist. So if I just figure I'm prioritizing killing the Arsonist, I can send some more willpower on the quest. So let's send Galdor. 17. Burning Piers. And Corsair Infiltrator. Okay, that's 3 threat. So I make 7 progress. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Burning Piers is explored. So now I think I should travel to the pillaged ship before it gets too much damage. And I can deal with the Burning Piers later. Now I have to engage this Corsair Infiltrator. I still don't have to engage the raid leader. So I probably shouldn't. I will engage the Infiltrator. Mablon gains a resource. So defending against the Infiltrator, 1 damage. Defending against this guy, 1 damage. And actually Bjorn will kill the Infiltrator first. So he will never have a chance to trigger his forced effect and steal one of my resources when I collect them in the resource phase. And thus will never get additional shadow cards. Mablon can attack for 2 and deal 1 damage to the Corsair Arsonist. At the end of the combat phase, there are 2 Corsair enemies in play, so I will deal 2 damage to the Burning Piers, and at the end of the round, 1 more damage on each of those. Which does mean more threat from the Burning Piers, of course, but I'm just trying to save as many ships as possible. Thus far, I haven't seen any of the ships that cause significant problems when they're placed underneath the Haven's Burn. Otherwise, of course, I would definitely consider strategically giving up on something like the Burning Piers in order to save something that would cause more problems if it disappeared. Okay. I cannot currently afford either of these law ents, but of course I could use Arwen's ability to add a resource to Galdor. Since I only have the one tactics card in my hand, it's definitely time to play it. It does help reduce the threat in the staging area. Ent draft could be good, but more willpower. Still definitely a priority. Over here, I do want to play King Under the Mountain. I suppose it would be nice to play Sailor of Loon as well. But that can work out. So question is, yeah, actually, Sailor of Loon is only really worthwhile if I can still have the top card of my discard pile be an event. So let's see, it's 2 for King Under the Mountain, leaving me with 3 resources, 2 for the Sailor of Loon, and 1 to pull back Elven Light. Okay. So I'll pull back Elven Light first. And if I target, okay. And the sequence on this is wrong. Oh no, it's okay. I discard Elven Light to add a resource to Galdor, who will then pay 2 for another Wandering Ent. And then I pay 2 for King Under the Mountain on Balin, but I do not use it yet because it could change the top card of my discard. Well, it will change the top card of my discard pile. And then I pay 2 for the Sailor of Loon. So now there is 2 for 8 threat in the staging area. We're definitely questing over here, of course. 3, 7, 9, 11, 17. I could just go for 19. That seems pretty great, and I still have a decent amount of combat power available. I need 4 progress, buffer of 7. Yeah, that should be fine. Elven Caravel. See, this forced when Elven Caravel is placed underneath the Haven's Burn, deal 1 damage to each character in play. So this is a much higher priority to make sure it's explored before it burns. And put to the torch. Each player must either deal 3 damage to a character he controls or to a flame location in play. Well, I could actually just place the damage on... Oh, but it's each player. Still, one player could just put the 3 damage on the Burning Piers. It would reveal another card to replace them. But... oh, right, when Burning Piers is placed underneath the Haven's Burn, deal 3 damage to the Dream Chaser. Still, I could possibly deal with that. It would reveal another card to replace them. That other card would probably be less threat than the currently 4 threat Burning Piers, but the threat isn't that big of an issue for me at the moment, so I think I will just deal 4 damage to Balin and 3 damage rather to Balin and 3 damage to Galdor of the Havens. And that's fine. So I've added 3 threat to the staging area. I make 8 progress. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Pillaged ship is explored. Now, while the Elven Caravel, as I mentioned, is a priority, I think it's still reasonable for me to go to the Burning Piers first, since this is the only other location in play that I can actually travel to. I should still have plenty of opportunity to do the caravel. Now that I've resolved the quest, the top card of my discard pile no longer matters for the Sailors of Loon. So I can trigger King Under the Mountain. And okay, so it would have been fine regardless. But I didn't know that. So, there we go. Another Elven Light. And now I think is definitely time to try and deal with the raid leader if I can. So I engage the raid leader. When he engages you, move one resource from each of your hero's resource pools to raid leader. I only have resources on Mablung, and then Mablung gains a resource because I just engaged an enemy. So the raid leader has 2 defense rather than his printed 1. So, okay, he attacks for 5. I defend with the undamaged Dendingle Warrior. No shadow effect. Dendingle Warrior. I trigger his ability, deal 1 damage for +3 defense, so it's 5 defense, and that's fine. The other Dendingle Warrior defends against the Corsair Arsonist. No damage. So it will take 3 to kill the Arsonist, 7 to kill the raid leader. I can't kill both of them, but that's okay. I will attack for 7 and kill the raid leader. Both decks drop their threat by 3. And I'll do another 1 damage to the Corsair Arsonist. He's almost dead. At the end of the combat phase, I deal 1 damage to the Aflame location in play with the lowest Aflame value. Unfortunately, that is the Elven Caravel. And then at the end of the round, 1 damage to each Aflame location in the staging area. But I still have a little buffer on the Elven Caravel, so I should be able to make this work. And there's very little threat in the staging area now, so I can hold back more characters on this side for combat. This deck draws an extra card for Círdan, and of course I will keep the Test of Will. Steward of Gondor, King Under the Mountain, and I will keep Light of Valinor. Okay, so yes, I think it is definitely time for Light of Valinor and Naya. Of course, this handily means that Círdan now has a leadership resource icon, so he can pay for leadership cards, and Balin can save his resources for cancelling shadow effects. I'm not sure if that's what I want to do right away. I obviously want to save a resource for Test of Will, but I will pay 1 to pull Elven Light back to my hand, and then discard it to Arwen to add a resource back to Círdan. So I still have the resource for a Test of Will, and the top card of my discard pile is still an event, so my Sailors of Loon are all still 2 willpower. So this means still only 1 resource on Galdor, so I can't play this Warden of Healing, who is definitely a high priority at this point, since we just took damage on our heroes. But that's okay. Still only 1 tactics card in my hand. Still going to be worth playing it. Threat drop of 2 for both players for 1 resource is reasonable. And at this point, especially given this forced effect, I don't want to be keeping enemies around to get a bigger threat drop with Secret Vigil. I'd want to be just killing everything as it's revealed. So there is now 5 threat in the staging area. I can probably just quest with this deck and not care about the other. So 3, 7, 9, 11, 17. That's plenty of willpower. And we reveal Corsair Arsonist. Either deal 2 damage to an Aflame location in play, or search the encounter deck and discard pile for the Aflame location with the highest Aflame value and add it to the staging area. I mean, I could deal the 2 damage to the Dream Chaser, but as noted, I am pretty okay for willpower, so I'm just going to grab a pillaged ship. It is added to the staging area, not revealed. So again, I do not resolve the when revealed effect, which would deal damage to it or add another enemy. And second card of staging is another Corsair Arsonist. I could just get another pillaged ship. That would be a total of 8 threat added. I would still make 4 progress, which would explore the Burning Piers. I'm going to do that. So let's see, is there another pillaged ship in the encounter deck? There is not. Of course, actually, I could just deal the 2 damage to the pillaged ship I already have. That would be simpler. So let's just do that. So 6 threat added. I make 6 progress. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've still got some room before I advance to stage 2. I want to be cautious about that because stage 2 is when I have to start dealing with Sahir and Nasir. And now it's definitely time to go to the Elven Caravel, which has a travel cost. Each player must assign damage among characters he controls equal to the amount of damage on Elven Caravel, which is 2, so that's fine here. I just deal it to these Ents, and here I will deal it to the Sailors of Loon. Okay. This deck is below the engagement cost of the Corsair Arsonists, so they will both engage this deck, which is great. Mablon gains a resource. So, shadow cards. Okay. Just going left to right. If the attacking enemy is a raider, the Corsair Arsonist is a Corsair, but he's not a raider, so that does nothing. This one, nothing. Bjorn, again, not a raider, 1 damage. So now let's see. I attack for 2, and kill this one. Both decks drop their threat by 2. I attack for 5 and kill this one. And I attack for 4 and kill this one. Mablung has nothing to do. Círdan and Naya have nothing to do. There are no Corsair enemies in play at the end of the combat phase, so no additional damage is dealt. I deal damage at the end of the round for the Aflame keyword. Control N, new round. Extra draw, and of course I will keep the Test of Will. Something like that. There we go, right. And Steward of Gondor and King Under the Mountain. Of course I will discard Light of Valinor since it's already in play. So, yes, this Warden of Healing is very important right now. Over here I will pull Elven Light back to my hand and then discard it to add a resource to Galdor, which I will use to play an Ent draft onto one of my Dundingle warriors. I need to find some tactics cards, so potentially it would be useful if I could somehow empty my hand and then draw 6 with Galdor. Over here... Oh, I didn't think of that. Okay, no. Scratch that. Take back these. But I will still give Galdor the extra resource. So then I will actually play Wellinclaw Preserver. I just play Exhausted. And now over here, I will pay 2 Yeah, that's fine. For Herald of Norian, triggering his optional Dooms 2, and that is how I will get the Warden of Healing into play. So now I still have more resources. I want to save 1 for a test of will, but I think 1 is enough. I don't need to save for both tests of will. And likewise I'm saving 1 resource on Balin for shadow cancellation. So Envoy of Pelagia. Don't want to waste the West Road Traveller's ability. Nath Guide. I mean, maybe I just try to advance the quest this round. Or no, I should not do that. I should try to advance the quest next round. So that being the case, I will play an Envoy of Pelagia and add the resource back to Círdan, and that will be it. So, there is 4 threat in the staging area. I quest for 3, 7, 9, 15, 17, 18. Okay, so if I make 12 progress, then I will advance the quest. That is unlikely to happen, so I think that's fine. And let's send the envoy as well. So 19. The fire's spread. Doomed 2. Deal 1 damage to each flame location in play. If less than 3 total damage is dealt by this effect, the fire's spread gains surge. Well, this would not destroy the pillaged ship. It would not destroy the Elven Caravel. I think I can deal with that. And hold on to my test of will. Mithlond Harbour, Surge. While it's in the staging area, progress can't be placed on locations in the staging area. That's fine. I have no means of placing progress in the staging area. Put to the torch, each player must either deal 3 damage to a character he controls or to a flame location in play. I could deal with this. I do have the Warden of Healing in play now to gradually heal up that damage. So it... just in case there's a horrible... Actually, no. I think at this point I can feel pretty secure and just play a test of will on that. So, I have added 1 threat. Oh. Yes. I have added 1 threat, which means I am going to advance the quest. So with that in mind, I'm going to play this Elrond's Council and reduce my threat by 3. And gain 1 willpower. So, I'm questing for 20 against 5. I make 15 progress. 5 goes here. 10 goes here. This is explored. And I advance the quest. A menacing ship leads the raiders, its charismatic captain bellowing orders to the corsairs. Kill the defenders, he shouts. Destroy their ships! When revealed, add Nasir and Captain Sahir to the staging area, enemy side face up. Each player reveals the top card of the encounter deck. Place resources on both Nasir and Captain Sahir equal to the amount of damage on the Dream Chaser. Add 1 resource to each other raider enemy in play. So, they're added to the staging area, but Captain Sahir engages the first player. Mablon gains a resource. For each point of damage Captain Sahir would take, discard 1 resource from him and cancel that damage. Forced after Captain Sahir attacks, place 2 resource tokens on him, 4 instead if his attack destroyed a character. Basically, the resources on him count like extra hit points. And Nasir. Nasir engages the last player. Forced, when Nasir engages you, discard each event in your hand. Add 1 resource to Nasir for each event discarded in this way. That's why I played the Elrond's Council. That's why I wanted to not advance until next round, so that I could not discard Tests of Will. But never mind. She only gets one resource from that, since I used the other Test of Will and played the Elrond's Council. Right, each player reveals the top card of the encounter deck. And now I don't have a Test of Will. Mithril Harbour, Surge, Umbar Raider, and for the second player, Umbar Raider. Okay. Now, place resources on both Nasir and Captain Sahir equal to the amount of damage on the Dream Chaser, which is 5. Place one resource on each other raider enemy in play. Anytime players would place progress on this quest, remove an equal amount of damage from locations in play instead. Progress is placed on the active location before triggering this effect. Each raider enemy revealed by the encounter deck enters play with one resource on it. If Captain Sahir is in the victory display and each location in play has no damage, the players win the game. So, I'm going to travel to this pillaged ship. And this deck will optionally engage an Umbar Raider, gaining a resource, and the other Umbar Raider will naturally engage this deck. So, shadow cards. Let's see. Captain Sahir attacks for 6. Which I could defend with a Dundigal Warrior. Nasir. When Nasir attacks or defends, she gets +1 attack and +1 defense for this attack for each resource on her. After this attack, discard one resource from her. Essentially, she has the enemy equivalent of Blood of Numenor and Gondorian Fire. Pretty much. So she will be attacking for 8. So I need a chump for Nasir. That's fine. I have Naya. I can ready my Herald of Anorian to serve as a chump. Dundigal Warrior could do Sahir. But I also need to deal with these Umbar Raiders. Yeah, it is pretty much going to be Dundigal Warriors. So, okay. Dundigal Warrior against Sahir. If attacking enemy is a raider, discard a card at random from your hand and place one resource on attacking enemy. Well, both cards in my hand are the same. Sahir gets a resource. I deal 1 damage to the Dundigal Warrior for its ability. So it is now 5 defense. I will then heal the Dundigal Warrior and Balin. So 6 attack against 5 defense. Oh, no. Actually, I will not even heal the Dundigal Warrior. I will heal Balin and Galdor, because now I exhaust Círdan and Naya to ready the Dundigal. In fact, I won't do the healing yet, just in case. But Círdan and Naya exhaust, so the Dundigal Warrior readies and now has 6 defense. And I also ready the Herald of Anorian. Dundigal Warrior takes no damage. Sahir gains 2 resources because he just attacked. Dundigal Warrior defends. This. No damage. Oh no, wait. But no, Dundigal Warrior's ability only lasts for 1 attack. So actually, this Dundigal Warrior is back down to 3 defense. So it would take a point of damage. So I should just heal my Dundigal Warriors. So yeah, 1 damage. And then this Durnedingle warrior defends this one. If this attack destroys a character, it does not trigger the ability. Oh, and each of these after Armbar Raider attacks, you move one resource from one of your hero's resource pools to Armbar Raider. So, and over here, Herald of Arnor is killed, and I remove one resource from Nasir after the attack. So, let's see. I need to kill Captain Sahir in order to win. He has 8 resources on him, which means I would need to attack for 15. 2, 7, 9, 11, 13. I can't do it. It takes 6 to kill these guys. I could do that. So I think it's going to be better to just try and clear the board of as many enemies as possible and deal with Sahir next round. Now, the forced effect dealing damage at the end of the combat phase was on stage 1. It's no longer a thing here. But still, at the end of the round, I deal 1 damage to each flame location in the staging area, but that is only the Dream Chaser at the moment. And of course, as soon as we get into the refresh phase, these two swap decks. Control N. When my Welling Hall Preserver readies, I will heal this Durnedingle warrior. This deck draws an extra card for Círdan. And, I might actually discard the Handmaiden, because Nath Guides, just the action advantage, may be more useful than the slight threat drop, since we're close to the end of the quest. Steward of Gondor and King Under the Mountain. You see King Under the Mountain, and okay, obviously I discard King Under the Mountain. So yes, note of course Mythland Harbours are not aflame. So I could play the West Road Traveller just for the willpower, but I think it might be even better. Okay, so I'm not going to be able to deal with Sahir this round either, because all the combat power is over this side of the table. I might be able to deal with Nasir, maybe, but I wouldn't count on it. So basically, yeah, I don't really want to... I mean, I could possibly try to muster enough to attack him and take some of his resources away, but that's all I could really do. But, okay, so let's pull Elven Light back to my hand. Third Nath Guide. Okay, let's play a Nath Guide, and we will say that Galdor does not exhaust the quest. Let's discard Elven Light and add a resource to Galdor. And let's do another Nath Guide and say that Mablung does not exhaust the quest. Actually, no, let's not do that. Let's instead pull Elven Light back to my hand again and draw another card. Okay. Not a test of will, which is what I was really looking for. But it's fine. I will, of course, play this Warden of Healing. Just need to... My hand is getting really low, so I can almost draw 6 with Galdor, but not quite. So, let's see. There is 4 threat in the staging area. And Galdor is questing without exhausting. So I quest for 2, 5, 9, 11, 12. Uh, 18, 20, 21, 22. 22, that should be fine. And we reveal Burning Piers and Raid Leader, who enters play with 1 resource on him. So that has added 4 threat to the staging area. I make 14 progress, so 4 explores the pillaged ship. 6 removes all of the damage from the Dream Chaser, and the rest is worthless. But okay, that's all fine. I can travel. I guess I'll go to the Burning Piers. I could engage the Raid Leader, but I don't have to, and my willpower is kind of ridiculous, so I'm not going to bother. So let's deal shadow cards. Nasir is going to be attacking for 7. Okay, so Duniggle Warrior defends here. Deal the damage. Puts it up to 5 defense, so taking 1 damage. And yeah, then I will just... Oh, no. Wait. I will use the Warden of Healing to heal these 2, and then use Círdan and Naya to ready the Duniggle Warrior and the Warden of Healing. So this Duniggle Warrior is defending for 6 against Sahir. Sahir gains 2 resources. And now Nasir, as noted, will be attacking for 7. So I guess I do the same Duniggle Warrior again. Heal it. So now it's defending for 6. Okay, and heal again. And defending for 6. Takes 1 damage from the 7 attack Nasir, who loses 1 resource. I can't do anything to Sahir, but okay. When she defends, gets +1 defense for each resource, so she would have 6 defense. So I only needed to attack for 10, 2, 7, 9, 11 is enough. She goes to the victory display. Cool. This shadow card is discarded in the refresh phase. Captain Sahir engages this deck. Mablon gains a resource. I should have done that last round as well, but I think I forgot. It doesn't matter because I have a ridiculous number of resources already. Control N, new round. Extra draw for Círdan, and of course I will discard Light of Valinor. King Under the Mountain shows me Gandalf and Naya. Of course I will discard Naya. Steward of Gondor. Okay, so let's play this Entmoot. And all sorts of Ent cards. Well, at least I have something to do with my tactics resources now. I'm not sure how relevant it'll be. Oh, of course, the Welling Hall Preserver readied and thus healed 1 damage from the Duniggle Warrior. So let's see, 2 for a booming ent, which is currently +4 attack for my 4 damaged ents. And Dundingle Warrior number 3, who can have an ent draft, I think. I'll be readying him with Naya, so that's fine. And over here, well, let's pull Elven Light back to my hand, draw a card. It's another Elven Light. Discard Elven Light. Add a resource to Círdan. Oh, a flame damage at the end of the round. I could just drop Gandalf at this point. Seems like a decent idea. So Gandalf. Now, okay. So here obviously is going to attack again, so he's going to get another 2 resources. So he will have 12 resources, plus his 2 defense and 5 base hit points. So I would need to attack for 19. I could ready this booming ent with Naya, which would make it 7 attack. 12, 14, 16. Yeah, I can do that. So I don't need to deal damage with Gandalf, so I may as well just try and get a good score and drop my threat. And I don't need the extra willpower from the 8th guide. Let's just hold it all back for potential shadow cancellation. So let's quest 3, 7, 13, 15, 17, 18, 19. There's 7 threat in the staging area. You know what? 19 is fine. Elven Caravel. Actually, I'm going to change how I paid for Gandalf just so I could potentially play this Elven Light again. Elven Caravel and the Fire's Spread. Doomed 2. Deal 1 damage to each flame location in play. Okay. 1, 2, 3. That was at least 3 total damage, so it does not gain Surge. I added 3 threat to the staging area. I make 9 progress. 3 explores this. 2, 3 removes the damage. And there's 3 left over. I travel to the Elven Caravel. Each player must assign damage among characters he controls equal to the amount of damage on Elven Caravel, which is none. I still don't need to engage the raid leader, so I will not engage the raid leader. So now Naya readies up this Dundingle Warrior and this Booming Ent. Dundingle Warrior will defend against Captain Sahir. So it's currently 3 defense. I trigger the ability to give it another +3, so defending for 6. Against Sahir's 6 attack, he gains 2 resources. After the attack, I will heal Galdor and these Sailors of Loon. And now I can attack for 2. 7, 9, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24. So 12 of that removes the resources, leaving 12 against 7. So here goes the victory display. Captain Sahir is in the victory display and each location in play has no damage. I win the game. And there you go, that's Raid on the Grey Havens. It's it's an interesting quest. I definitely did get a bit lucky with my setup. And then for a while after that, I wasn't revealing a lot of locations, which is interesting. Obviously, it means quite a lot of... It meant that the combat was quite demanding, and that in turn means that the locations that are in play keep catching fire, because you deal damage at the end of the combat phase for all the enemies you haven't killed yet. But, I mean, I was sort of built to deal with all that combat, so it was just juggling the damage until all my ints were available, and I had enough willpower that nothing here needed to quest. So, yeah, if you get a rougher start with more threat in the staging area, then it becomes more difficult, because it's more difficult to handle the enemies, and then the damage stacks up more, and it can all snowball the wrong way. But in this case, it worked out very nicely. Ents are great. And this worked out fine as well. Other than that was an unfortunate mishap, getting Phoebe and Keely both at the same time. One of them is supposed to stay in the deck, so I can just play the other and get both, but they're not that important to the deck anyway. So, that's very good. This wraps up the Grey Havens. Of course, I'll now be moving into the Dream Chaser cycle. If you enjoyed this, please consider supporting me on Patreon. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.